Hi, welcome to episode 2 of the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. My name's Ali. I'm coming to you from my kitchen in Kent in the UK. It is the county south of London known as the Garden of England. It's episode 2, which means I must have pressed publish on episode 1. I was extremely nervous about whether or not I was going to actually publish my first attempt at a podcast, but I did, and I had some nice comments and some nice feedback, which was lovely, and I really enjoyed doing the last one, and I have actually been quite looking forward to having another go. I haven't shared my podcast on Instagram yet. I'm not quite ready to sort of come out as a podcaster. I'm still a little bit shy, so I've still got to sort of jump that hurdle and sort of go public with it, with the people that I'm already connecting with online. But I will, maybe. So, where to find me? I am on Ravelry as Snip Snap Happy. I am on Instagram as Starry Eyes Ali, and here on YouTube I am Little Drops of Wonderful. And this podcast is about my crafting and squeezing it into a very busy life as a mum, as someone who works, and all the other stuff that comes with life. I talk about knitting, I talk about crochet, I talk about a tiny bit of sewing, I talk about just lovely things that make me happy. So, yes. So before I go on, I'm going to have a sip of my tea because last time it went cold. And get it while it's warm in possibly the best mug in the world. Love it. And tell you that coming up will be finished objects, works in progress, and also anything that I bought over the last week or so. Then I'll do a little 2 or 3 minute video about what's gone on this past week, and then a little bit at the end about what's coming up over the next week or 2. So let's get started. Finished objects. I don't have any. I haven't finished. I've started a few more things, so I've got plenty of works in progress, but I haven't actually managed to finish any crochet. Oh no, I tell a lie. Hang on, I haven't finished any crochet projects or knitting projects, but I did make a new project bag. Now last week I talked about making a sequiny, glittery project bag for my Strictly socks. More on those later. I didn't make that, but I did make another bag with some fabric that I've had for about 7 years from a swap that I did absolutely years ago. It's fish fabric. I've done it on a blue polka dot base with a little tag to match, and it's just the same on both sides, and then on the inside it's got my favourite lining fabric, which is the organic cotton, really soft and bright, so when you look in there you can really easily see what you've got. And also last week I completely forgot to show you when I was showing you one of my works in progress. This is my favourite project bag, and I want to make another one of these. This is my favourite fabric. It's lobsters. I love lobsters. It's got a nice bright pink zip. It's just very plain. Little organic cotton tag, and again, running theme, organic cotton lining. Okay, so moving on to works in progress. I have plenty of works in progress to show you. So let's talk about my Strictly socks first, which still don't have a sparkly sequiny project bag. So they are instead living in my yarn bowl, which is which was a birthday present from my sister, who is Jeggiel on Instagram, Jeggiel, I think. I'll put a little thing down here. She's my mad animal crazy sister, and she also loves crochet and cross stitch. So she bought me this yarn bowl, and I can't remember the name of the person that made it. So I will check that. I will put it on the screen and I will put it in the show notes because it is absolutely beautiful. The colour is like a sea greeny turquoisey colour, and then it's got this beautiful design at the front so you can have your yarn coming through, and it's perfect. I do like working from a ball of yarn. So this is just the Strictly socks are being made out of Drops Fabel print, which I've just balled up, and I do like to work from a ball of yarn, and the yarn bowl just makes it so easy. You just pop it in, you don't even have to do that, and then it just tumbles around, doesn't go zooming off over the living room during telly. Anyway, so as you can see, last week these were just little circles, and now this week, because Strictly was on this weekend, yay! Strictly season! So while Strictly was on Friday and on Saturday, I managed to do quite a bit. In fact, I've almost knit up to the point where I'm about to start on the gusset. Now the pattern I'm using is a Sockmatician's Toe Up Socks recipe, where it gives you the calculations for working out a well-fitting sock for any size yarn and needle combination. So I've worked that all out, and I've tried this on my foot as it is, and I did measure very carefully, and I did subtract quite a lot of stitches to try and make sure that the sock would be close fitting. So I think in knitting terms that is having a lot of negative ease. There I go again, not knowing if I'm saying the right thing or looking stupid. So they do feel like they're going to be quite baggy, which isn't a problem because I will either give them to a friend who's got slightly wider feet than me, or I'll just use them as nice cosy in front of the telly socks or welly socks, you know. But they won't be able to be everyday socks if they're quite wide fitting. But I don't know why. I haven't measured the gauge again since I've, you know, come up from the toe and worked my way down to see if maybe my knitting's become looser. I am a new knitter and I am getting a lot more confident with my knitting. Maybe I'm finding my style of knitting as I go, and maybe in future I'll have to take that into account when I'm making socks. Let me just go and get my sock notebook. Okay, so this is my sock notebook, and I only started making socks this year, and because it is, there were so many, sorry, text message popped up on the screen. My order's ready at Next, in case you wanted to know. There were so many different combinations and ways of making socks. So many different patterns, so many different cast-ons, so many different cuffs. You can work top down, toe up, there's different heels, there's different needle sizes, yarn, types of yarn, whether it's self-striping or for a new knitter, and so, it's mind-boggling. So my way to handle mind-boggling is to write everything down and stay organised. So each page has details of what I did for my socks. So this is my first pair of socks. So you can see I made the Winwick Mum sock-along socks, and that's what got me started. And I keep a record of the number of stitches. So my first socks, which were for me using 2.5mm needles, I cast on 64 stitches, and those socks fit me pretty well, quite snugly. And then on my second socks, I made them for my husband, and again I cast on for him. Actually, I haven't written. Horror of horrors, I haven't written on my husband's ones how many I cast on, so let's move on. And I intend to stick in like the ball bands and stuff like that. Again, I did Hermione's everyday socks on 2.5 short circular needles and cast on 64. Now, because of the pattern of that, they came out a lot looser, but I think that's because of the nature of the pattern. So really I should have maybe gone down to 60, maybe even less stitches. And then for the stitches, for the ones that I'm on at the moment, the Sockmatician ones, I don't know if I've written them in here yet. No, I haven't. Yeah, no, I know that I cast on for the Sockmatician toe-ups 60 stitches. So that's 4 stitches less than I normally would. But maybe it should have been even less. I don't know. We won't really know until it's completely finished. And they're still going to be lovely. And I tell you, the toe-up, they look a bit pointy there. When they're blocked, it won't be like that. And it does work really well. I really like that. So I'm really intrigued to see how now it will be sort of doing the gusset and the heel. So that's quite exciting. I managed to get quite a bit done for 2 shows. Yes, so those are my Strictly socks. I've already mentioned the Highland Peaks Shawl, which is in here. I'm not going to say much about it. I showed it last week. It's an absolutely lovely pattern. It's the Highland Peaks Shawl. I'm doing it in red and grey, Drops Baby Alpaca silk, and it's going to have a green lace border. But I am so stuck on it that I need to just, it's in timeout basically for a little while until I figure it out. Mina of KnittingExpat has actually got another shawl pattern out. It's called, I think from memory, the Sea Crest Shawl. And the way that she's designed that one is that you do the lace section first, but it's worked not from that end to that end, as though you'd wrap it round, but on the short end, I can't explain it. Anyway, it means that basically for a beginner with lace, it's slightly easier to learn to keep your place. So I think I am going to treat myself to that, and that may be that I should have a go at least at that lace section first to give me a bit of a start, and then return to my Highland Peaks Shawl. I don't know. We'll see. It will get done eventually. I just need to have the headspace to concentrate on it. Some things are really easy, like the main body of that shawl was really easy to work through, but yeah, I need to really apply myself to get through that lace section. If you've got any tips on how to keep track during a lace section, do let me know. The next work in progress that I have is one that I showed you last week as well, which is the Hitchhiker Shawl in my tropical bag. Oh look, with the same lining. So I made a bit of progress on this, although I stopped for a little while because I was working on a couple of other bits. I love this yarn. This is using the yarn by MyMamaKnits, who is Sunshine Stewart on Etsy and Instagram. And the colourway is Squidette on the Beach. She also does one called Squid on the Beach, but this one is Squidette on the Beach, which has got more pink in it. So the Hitchhiker Shawl, as I'm sure you will know, is worked so that you bind off a few stitches at every 8 or 9 rows to create these sort of toothy tooths. So it starts dark orange, it works up into a lighter orange, and then it's starting to go yellow, and as you can see I am now getting loads and loads of these little pops of dark blue, pink. It's coming, because it's the light. I need to work out how. it's coming out a bit washed out, but you get the idea. So that's coming along really nicely. I think you're supposed to get 42 teeth, because that's why it's called the Hitchhiker Shawl, because 42, the answer to the meaning of life, the universe and everything, from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 29. And I've got this left. Now, it occurred to me as I was doing this, when I ordered this yarn, I paid an extra, whatever it was, to have it caked, because I can't do that. Because that's easier for me to have it arrive pre-caked. And then I pulled from the middle of it. And then it occurred to me as I got kind of halfway up this, am I supposed to pull from the middle of it? Or am I supposed to take the yarn from the outside? Because obviously pulling from the middle of it, it works, it's fine, and it means I could start with the orange, but it means as I go on, I'm going to just end up with a kind of encased, like a floppy, see, squishy. Is that okay? Does it matter? I don't know. Anyway, so that's been a really nice project. I'm really looking forward to getting that finished, and actually, even for me as a new knitter, it's been quick, and the only reason probably that I haven't made more progress on it is that I've put it down for the last 4 days because I was working on the Strictly socks and a couple of other things. So yeah, hopefully by next time that'll be finished and I'll actually have a finished object to share with you. Wrong bag, this one. Okay, so my next work in progress is something I have been wanting to do, to give you a clue, since I started knitting socks. Because when you knit socks, you get leftover yarn. So, for example, these were from my Hermione's Everyday socks. Got that one there. This was from my very first pair of socks. That's a Regia Blitz one. Can't remember what that one was. This one was from the socks that I knit for my husband. So you get them all left over. And obviously you will have heard of a Cozy Memories blanket, where you use the remaining yarn, sock yarn, and you make some squares and you join as you go and you knit them together. The idea of doing it appealed to me, but the idea of knitting it didn't appeal to me. You know, my first love is crochet, and crochet makes such lovely fabric for a blanket. Then I was watching a new podcast. LorrainePughDesigns does a podcast. She's a crochet designer based in Cyprus, and she has come up with some little sort of mitered square, a pattern for a mitered square for crochet to join together in a blanket, which she calls the Crozy. The Crozy Memories blanket. The Crozy Memories blanket. So crochet cozy wordplay. So I started to make some squares, and they're coming out really nicely. So this is the one of my squares, and I love how the yarn just does completely different things in crochet than it does in knitting. So you've got that nice blue to orange to lighter blue with just the flecks of white, and then this is the same yarn, different square. They need blocking. I've only done 3, and then this is some using yarn from the very first sock that I made. Like that. And you start at this corner, and you just sort of, you increase in the middle as you go up, and it just creates a really simple. So once you get into the rhythm of it, it's really easy to just sit down and do 1 or 2 quickly. Or, you know, I took this with me the other day when I went to take my kids swimming. Did a couple whilst I was waiting for them at swimming. Yeah, it was really, really nice, really enjoying that. So I'm looking forward to, I'm not going to join as I go, I'm just going to make squares so it's always portable right up until the moment I want to start joining them as a blanket. So that's going to be a long-term ongoing project. That's going to take me, I'm going to have to knit a lot of socks or have a lot of leftover 4-ply yarn from all kinds of projects before that's going to be anywhere near becoming a blanket. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to work on that. Then I just went completely, I was knitting away and I thought, oh, I just really fancy having a go at, and I saw a pattern on Ravelry for Crochet Socks, and it's called the Hop Socks by Vicki Brown. Crochet Socks is part of a can't speak today, crochet sock collection, and this is one of them. This is black and white. I just printed it off quickly at work. Sorry, work. So they are folded over socks with a little folder, and they're so cute. And I thought, oh, I want to make those. And I have some pink. I am going to pronounce this so wrong. Scheepjes. Anyway, that's what it is. And the colour is number 1462, otherwise known as pink. So I started, I spent about an hour trying to work out my gauge, which I've never really had to do on many crochet projects before, but I had such problems with this. The pattern recommends 4-ply yarn and a 3.5mm hook. I had to go down to a 2mm hook to get the gauge. I didn't think, I don't know why. We'll see. And then by that point I was just like, oh, I'm just going to make them and see how they come out. If they don't fit me, I can give them to someone who they will fit. And then in order to do the cuff, you go down another half hook size. So I went down to, so I'm doing the cuff on 1.5mm, which I would normally use for lace and doilies and things. And you make a stretch cuff. So that's, you can see the join in the yarn. Let's do that way. You make a stretch cuff and it's just working in the back loops, double crochet, or for UK terms double crochet, but for US terms single crochet stitches into the back loops backwards and forwards until it reaches 20 centimetres. It took me about 2 hours to do this yesterday on it because it's such a small hook, and I've still got about another 6 centimetres to go. I'm going to have serious second sock syndrome when it comes to making another one of these, because this has got to be one of the most boring things to crochet. But then again, I suppose it's good mindless crochet, so it's easy to do it while you're watching telly because you don't need to look at what you do. So that's another work in progress that I randomly decided that I needed to start immediately. So who knows, by next podcast I might even have a crochet sock to show you. And this that I was going to show you, which just lives in my project bag, this is my hook roll, which is in my favourite colour, which is yellow. And this is, I bought this quite a few years ago actually from LorrainePughDesigns. She's on, I think she's on Instagram as LorrainePughDesigns as well. And I chose the fabric, so she shows you the selection of fabrics. And I just chose the yellow polka dot for the outside, and then this lovely grey and sort of pinky red for the inside, because I love that kind of combination of grey and yellow together. And get all my hooks in there, biggie ones all the way down to the teeny tinies. So yeah, so that's my hook roll. Okay, so I think that's it for works in progress. Yeah, oh no, hang on, spinning. This is so if you watched the last episode, I somehow accidentally got myself into trying some hand spinning. You'll have to watch the previous episode as to find out why. But basically I took my children to a local kind of farm where you can feed the animals. And they had some alpacas, and I asked what happened to their fleece. The guy that owned the place said that they get burnt. I was like, horrified. Anyway, it led to a whole discussion about spinning that I never thought I would have, because it's not something that's ever interested me before. And then a sort of drunken late night purchase on eBay, where I bought a Mayan hand spinner, which looks like this. So I then ordered some fleece, and I got some blue face Leicester and a couple of other ones. And as you can see, my spinning attempt this time round is a lot better than last time round. It's coming out a lot more even. I'm playing around with trying to get it a lot thinner. My drafting is getting better. That's so much fun, isn't it? I cannot tell you how sheepy this smells. Not that that bothers me, but it does bother everyone else that lives with me. So I've been spinning that. So my first attempt at spinning did not go particularly well. It was a very steep learning curve, and I kind of produced a very thick and thin, frizzy, disastrous attempt at spinning, which I then decided to dye at the same time as, you know, I popped it in the water to set the twist, soaked it with some vinegar, took it out, heated it up with an entire bottle of pink food colouring and some vinegar. Do I want to show you this? Do you want to see this? Ready? What a lovely salmony, orangey, horrible colour. Yeah, it's not great. I'm not going to show you that again. But it was a learning curve, and I went on to another helpful group on Ravelry. Basically, I'm learning that everybody on Ravelry has a wealth of knowledge, is a lot more clever than I am, and is very, very happy to help. So the group that I went on to was the, what was it called? It was called Love to Dye. And it seems, I think the general consensus is that there may have been quite a lot of lanolin still on the fleece, and or the hard water that we have in my area may have had a part to play. I won't be deterred. I ordered from Amazon for about, not very much, less than £1, some Kool-Aid. So I'm going to spin some more up of that and maybe another one, and then try again. Moving on to things I bought. Now, I haven't bought very much because, you know, I can't afford to buy lots of yarny things all the time. However, I do have one thing to show you. A couple of things to show you. First of all, I did make a yarn purchase. I saw this on Instagram and just fell in love with it, and then I found myself wandering into that shop update once again and spending money. So this again is from Strand Designs. It is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and it's 425 meters to 100 grams. It's called Speckles and Stripes, and it's a self-striping sock yarn. It is really soft, and I want to give you an idea of how it looks when it's worked up. It kind of has a kind of dark grey stripe interspersed with this speckly bright stripe. And Karina, who is the dyer behind Strand Designs, that's my little sheepy progress keeper or crochet marker that came in it. Karina agreed to let me use her photo from Instagram. So I will either pop it around the screen or you will see it now as I'm talking. So, very exciting. There's nothing like it. I mean, honestly, I can see why people get so addicted and buy so much yarn, because when it arrives, it's just, even though you've seen it on the screen, once you open it and you see it, it's like getting all excited all over again. You can see there it's, I'm going to try and get a good likeness of it. It's really beautiful. I'm so pleased with this, and I can't wait to knit it up into some socks. The other problem is, everything I order I just really like, so everything that I want to make with it I want to keep for me, which is a bit selfish, isn't it? So I'm going to have to start letting go of some things, because I do need to make presents for Christmas. The only other thing that I've got, I have a subscription. This arrived and I haven't managed to read it yet, so I'm looking forward to trying to maybe have a hot bath and read this later today. The latest issue of Inside Crochet, which I have a subscription to for my lovely mother-in-law. So I've got this until April next year. It's great. I mean, I really like Inside Crochet. There's a lot of really good information in there about upcoming events. It's got some lovely patterns. Sometimes they're a bit hit and miss in terms of some of the stuff, the wearable stuff. But yeah, on the whole, I absolutely love this. And it came with a little pin, little shawl pin. Although I might just pop it on a project bag actually. Really cute. Little swallow. Yeah, so that's it for sort of things that are new. Although something really exciting happened. So I do have something new on its way to me, because I won a competition on the KnittingExpat podcast. I entered her 8,500 subscriber giveaway. You had to comment in a thread about what kind of baby knits that you would like to make, and I gave a couple of ideas, and I think there were about 500 entries, and mine came up as the winning number. I couldn't believe. I was watching her last podcast. I think it was episode 79. My husband was out playing football. It was the evening, kids were in bed. I was just sitting watching this episode, and when she announced the winner, I could not have been more surprised if the Queen had like given me a shout out during her Christmas Day speech or something. I had to watch it 3 times to check I hadn't dropped off halfway through and I was dreaming it. I was so excited. So anyway, I've messaged Mina with my address in a kind of very excitable way, and she said that she posted the parcel to me on Sunday. Today is Tuesday. It is Tuesday the 27th, Tuesday the 27th of September. So she posted it to me a couple of days ago, and of course she is based in Bahrain, so we'll see how long it takes to get here, but it's so exciting. Okay, now that we've covered all of those little bits, I'm just going to pop in a little segment now about things that happened over the last week. little 3-minute interlude. That almost concludes the podcast for today. I'm trying to keep it a little bit shorter, just because I think sometimes it's quite nice to have a podcast that's relatively easy to squeeze in if you're watching it maybe on your way to somewhere, or you've only got half an hour, or you're waiting in the car park at the school, or some. It's just nice sometimes, I think, to have a bit of a shorter option. Plans for the week coming up. I don't know if I should actually do this segment, because last week I made a list of plans and I haven't done any of them. I haven't read my book. I haven't planned my yarn crawl trip to London that I want to do. I haven't done any of my Magic of Tidying Up book. Nope, haven't done any of it. Been too busy with everything else. And now, basically, the only thing I can say with any certainty that's going to happen over the next week or two is that I'm going to be traipsing around a lot of secondary schools. My eldest daughter, Lilia, sat her 11 plus a few weeks ago. We'll get the results the week after next. And at the moment, we're going to look at the local non-selective schools. We're seeing one tonight and a couple next week. And then once the results come, that will determine whether or not you're able to go and see any of the grammar schools. But that's the only thing I can say with any certainty is what's going to be happening. That and a lot of knitting, a lot of crochet, and also now that Strictly's back on, I can do these. Da, 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 da. Sorry. As I was doing my little dance, my battery ran out. All that remains for me to say, though, is thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed episode 2. If you liked it, give me a little thumbs up below, and hopefully I'll have another podcast again for you very soon, within the next week or two, and hopefully with some more finished objects. I promise to be a very good knitter and crocheter.